49. The haves are the problem in a consumer society. Over the last few years, we have become comparatively prosperous in Korea. Per capita income is now more than $6,000. The streets are filled with vehicles. We have huge department stores flaunting fine goods in their windows. And foreign travel has been open to everyone. Unfortunately, one of the side effects of this newfound prosperity is wasteful spending, a trend that has spread through society like a communicable disease. Even though we have become more prosperous, I certainly do not think the time has come for us to be lavish. Although the per capita income is more than $6,000, I do not think you can say that the situation is the same as when Japan or Taiwan reached the $6,000 level. I feel that we are actually living at a per capita income level of $2,000. Considering the inflation and the appreciation of the Korean won against the dollar, our $6,000 is closer to the $2,000 level. When compared to Japanese and Taiwanese standards at the time, yet our consumption rate is keeping pace with those of Japan and Taiwan today. We are spending incredible amounts relative to the per capita income. Everyone in Korea seems to be spending like mad. Nobody is saving, and that means trouble. So we have to curtail the spending. People have short memories, for it has not been very long since we broke the shackles of poverty. Watching this frenetic spending is like watching a child who should be learning to walk. Try to make a dash. Although the Japanese live much better than Koreans do, they live modestly. Even presidents of huge corporations live in homes only 100 to 130 square meters, about 1,075 to 1,400 square feet in area, and they have simple furniture. The chairman of the Mammoth Toshiba Corporation makes over 100 million yen, about $800,000 per year. Yet he lives in an 83 square meter, 900 square foot home and spends only 150,000 yen, 1,200 per month. In contrast, there are presidents of small firms in Korea who have homes over 330 square meters, 3,500 square feet in area, and who fill these homes with luxury imported furniture. The Japanese are the world's greatest savers as well. Those savings have made Japan one of the richest nations in the world today. Overconsumption is dangerous, so when it becomes a bad habit, a nation of consumers who spend way beyond their means is a nation in trouble. This applies to advanced countries like the United States too. The danger does not come just from the waste of money. Overspending influences the collective mentality. People become less determined to work hard, and they become more concerned with the joys and thrills to be found in the present. They want to play more than they want to work, and they fall prey to the temptations of laziness and extravagance at the expense of diligence and frugality. Instead of accumulating small amounts through healthy efforts, they look for windfalls. All of this leads to the corruption and decay of human nature, and eventually of a people and a nation. It seems that everyone is using money as if it were water. It is time we regained our senses. This extravagance borders on a mental disorder, and the ones perpetuating it are the rich. There are now families with a car for every member, while there are other families who do not have enough room to stretch out to sleep. There are people frenziedly trying to get into golf clubs, while others commit suicide out of the despair of poverty. The wealthy should cut back on their high living. Instead of flaunting their wealth through wanton consumption, they should be sharing their wealth with the have-nots. We have to restore the ethic of public prosperity. The wealthy should help bridge the gap between the haves and the have-nots. A nation is in trouble when the wealthy assume that it is nobody's business. How they spend their money? A couple of years ago, there was a company social affair for executives and their wives, and one man's wife showed up in a mink coat. I knew for a fact that this man could not afford a mink coat for his wife with his salary. His family also had several cars. These people were obviously living way beyond their means unless, of course, they had something going on the side. And since the man was working in a procurement department, many thought that his conduct was not beyond suspicion. I could not help but that this extravagance could easily become a contagion among other employees, so I gave the order to have the man discreetly relieved of his position. As far as I was concerned, there was no excuse for his wife to have a mink coat. The man left the company. A person's responsibility to society increases proportionately with his or her assets. Everything we have has come to us from and through society. This is true of possessions, of fame, and of power. And society has not given it to us for our own selfish use. Society has bestowed it on us so that we can return it to society in an appropriate manner. To put it another way, the more you have, the more frugal you should be, and the more responsibility you have to lead social trends in a healthy direction by working harder than others, and by being more frugal than others. 50. Is America losing its pioneer spirit? I sometimes worry that Americans' pioneering spirit, its zeal for challenging the unknown, is gradually fading away. The good life in America seems to distort the distribution of human resources. The rush of talented graduates to Wall Street, investment banks, and law offices creates a vacuum of talent in America's manufacturing industries. Without these people, how is America to improve productivity, achieve innovative management, or pursue technological development? Diligence in the workplace does not mean longer hours, nor does it mean working just to work. The true value of diligence in the workplace can be found in setting a clear goal, having self-confidence, and doing one's best. With fierce international competition, it has become essential for all manufacturers to develop new technologies and provide high-quality, low-cost products as quickly as possible. In other words, a mere product itself, no longer the most powerful factor in competitiveness. Competitiveness is increasingly dependent upon the ability to reduce production time, and nothing can reduce time more than hard work. In my opinion, the decline of American competitiveness in manufacturing was due not only to the softening of the work ethic, but also to the loss of leadership in industry. Leadership which was once the pride of the world. American industry led the world in investment and technological development, increasing world demand, but it found itself competing with national industries that were once its followers. This is because the United States had lost some of its frontier spirit, which I think is its single most important strength. Until a short time ago, when inspecting American factories, I was genuinely confident that we could continue to compete with them. It was my impression that Korean corporations were working much harder than their American counterparts. But more recently, American corporations have shown dramatic changes. So dramatic that I started to get worried. A recent visit to an American factory near Detroit, for example, really changed my view of industry. Even though it was after ordinary working hours, over 100 quality control circles were at the plant, discussing how to make product improvements. This was inconceivable a couple of years ago. If such changes continue to take place in American manufacturing, the United States will enter a new period of development and regain its international competitiveness. For a nation to be prosperous, manufacturing must remain competitive. And the key to eliminating a national deficit is to eliminate protectionism and become more global. The American manufacturing sector had been losing its competitiveness, and there is a huge national debt. The way to overcome such problems is to develop new manufacturing technology, rather than to put up more barriers. I hope that American manufacturing continues to improve, because it is important for the world that the United States maintain its leadership position. This helps assure peace and stability for other countries. Leadership means you cannot afford to stop making an effort, but have to strive harder to stay on top. So if someone asked me, is America losing its pioneer spirit? I would have to say no. In fact, it looks to me as if America is regaining its famous pioneer spirit. 51. Why you cannot profit at the expense of others. People cannot live alone. Each person is a part of society and people need one another. People make society, and at the same time society makes people. The American sociologists Peter and Brigitte Berger, in their book Sociology, a biographical approach, wrote about the socialization process of the individual and how the biography of each individual is really the story of his or her relationships with other people. They discuss how socialization makes it possible for an individual to relate to other individuals and ultimately to the entire social universe. The meaning of life is found in altruism, not in egotism and selfishness. But we are currently acing social problems caused by people who think that they, and they alone, without consideration of others, are going to live well. If you have even minimal regard for others, you could never sell drugs or put hazardous materials into foodstuffs. If you are at all sensitive to the fact that there are 3-generation families living in small rented single rooms, then you would not consider buying a mink coat or speculating in real estate. Such behavior comes out of a lack of regard for one's neighbors. It is both sad and an embarrassment that there are people who do live that way. No matter what kind of work you are doing, you should not fall into this trap of selfishness. You have to go beyond personal greed and think of the public good. You always have to remember that you are not living alone, that you are always living in relationship with other people and are dependent on them in innumerable ways. many of which we just take for granted. Living with one another goes beyond just existing with one another. It includes prospering and developing with one another, what we call co-prosperity, and that is the basis of my corporate philosophy. Corporations, like people, should not seek their own profits at the expense of others. Of course, the basis of corporations in a capitalist system is to turn a profit, something no one can deny. At the same time, however, corporations should not be concerned with profits alone, and they should not be out to annihilate the competition. Just as the responsible individual has obligations to society, so does a corporation. Corporations are born out of society and are part of society. And when corporations trade with foreign firms or foreign nations, the same principle applies. They must think in terms of reciprocity and co-prosperity. Although profit-seeking may result in some short-term benefits, it is not wise in the long run because other firms will stop dealing with you. The relationship will end very quickly and you will lose. I always think in terms of the partner getting as much out of a deal as we do, because by doing so we guarantee a healthy, mutually beneficial, long-term relationship. It is important to impress upon other people and other firms that they will not take a loss by dealing with you. And I have always stood by this principle. That is why I believe Daewoo has been able to establish such an outstanding number of joint ventures with foreign firms. The same principle has to apply to subcontractors. We always analyze the basic costs and projected profits, and make sure that we split the difference with the subcontractor. At the same time, however, you have to make sure that you are not taking a loss. Just as you look out for the other company's interests, it should be looking out for yours. This became an issue when we were taking on a seawater treatment plant project for Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. We received the order from America's Assurin-owned Bechtel, renowned for its advanced technology. But after deciding to give the contract to Daewoo Shipbuilding, Bechtel started changing the conditions of the contract to our disadvantage. In addition to stating that it had the right either to terminate or delay the contract at any point, it added the condition that it would pay only after it had evaluated work completed. I found those changes in the agreement totally unacceptable because my principle is one of equality, fairness, and reciprocity. You have to enter an agreement as equal partners. But I was not about to toss this contract out the window after we had fought so hard and so long to get it. I went to the president of Bechtel and presented my case. I told him that contracts have to be fair and that Daewoo was based on the principle of reciprocity. I asked him if that was not the American way as well. He evidently was not very moved by my position. However, so I told him that I would have to give up the contract. Based on the conditions that had been presented to me, eventually I succeeded in getting a fair contract, and we received a substantial amount of money before we actually started work. This principle of mutual respect, fairness, and reciprocity is essential to all human relations, not just business. People have to work for one another's benefit as well as for their own. When a company does well at the expense of others, then society is in trouble.